Hi, Angela. Sorry, guys, I can't see the screen just yet. No, sun is awful bright here. I am currently in Wesley Bolin Plaza, right across from the Arizona State Capitol. Hi, D-Gab. Hey, U-Haul. Um, you guys might know the man in the headdress over here as America's Shaman. They are getting ready to do their Forbidden Truth podcast. You can find that on Rumble. I will be tagging everything in my description when this is uploaded. Yes, U-Haul, I wrenched you. Hi, Riddle. Hey, did you guys hear? I see the sign Tesla Towers. Did you hear about the electric trucks downtown that caught fire?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Right?
They're not, you know,
It's not
yeah, the
practical.
lithium batteries are really not good.
They're not practical for the earth either. So,
Oh, they're highly pollutive.
yep.
Very destructive. Lithium mining on top of trying to dispose of them.
You guys, if you have Twitter, you can find Jake at America's Shaman on Twitter. He doesn't do fascist book. He doesn't do anything else. He's gotten kicked off of YouTube. I'll probably be kicked off sometime soon, but it's all good. Right? I'm pretty much on some watch list somewhere because I harass Biden on Twitter all the time. But yeah, Forbidden Truth on Rumble. Jake is America's Shaman on Twitter. I will tag everyone in my description when this gets loaded. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Carrie. I know I've done a field trip down here and read all the memorials and stuff, but they aren't ready. So I'm just going to go walk around. Look, there's the doggy, the canine law enforcement memorial. I like bald over there. Okay. Um, the the Constitution right there. I read those. I carry mine with me all the time because those are my rights. They're trying to take our fundamental rights from me. You know what I say to that? This is my fucking country. The only one that's going to save us is we, the people. Just so you know. I know you all know that. You're my freedom family, and I love you all. I honestly did not plan on going live today, but I got sent a link from a friend that said that Jake was down here doing his podcast from the ley lines at the Arizona State Capitol. So I grabbed my gear, got in the car, and did 90 all the way down the freeway. Yes, I did. I made it here in less than 10 minutes from my house. I don't even know if I locked my car. Yeah, I did. I just checked again. Oh, but look, Enduring Freedom Memorial. Yeah, walking around. I don't know when they're going to start. Hello, Samuel. I just want to say I don't want any negativity or bad stuff in regards to what I am live streaming. I know a lot of people are against J6ers, against freedom or whatnot. This is my live stream and I will not tolerate bullshit. Okay. Thank you. Just voicing my thoughts on my live stream. Whether you do not think we're losing our fundamental rights, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people out there who do believe we are. Just be grown up and agree to disagree. No fighting, no arguing on my live stream. I have moderators who will take care of my stream and kick you out.
We just
Thank you, Samuel.
we just hope it's not.
I actually do like elephants, and I may be planning a trip to the zoo, so stay tuned. Hi, Casey. We are supposed to hit 103 here in Phoenix today, so your 90 degrees is like nothing for us, just saying. No, it's not.
It's usually like 100. Yeah.
Well, you know that whole global warming thing's happening, right?
Like, but it all the way up again.
Yes, Carrie, love to keep my freedom. And GGAB, yes, please just get along. No negativity. Everybody has their own damn beliefs. You respect mine, I'll respect yours. This is what our country's about. Respect, freedom. Deal with it. Or get the boot. Just saying. Out here in, oh yeah, that's where you are. I forgot where you were, U-Haul. Global cool, I don't know, global cooling, global warming, climate control. I don't know what the hell they want to call this crap. It's a bunch of hooey BS. Really. If you ask me. U-Haul, are you able to stay in my stream? I don't know how long I'll be live. But if you're able to stay, I would appreciate your moderating skills. Hello, 24/7 Live, AZ Skies. Oh, hold on. I have a glare. Man, bear, pig. Thanks, U-Haul. I appreciate it. Look, we got a lot of freedom fighters here. I mean, their chairs are red, white, and blue. Come on. I almost bought those. So we got the future here. I hope you don't mind if I'm on the live stream. I thought I'd ask. But look, we got this. These are our future right here. These two kids. This is what we're fighting for. If some of you people don't get it, well, sucks for you. Just saying. But I'll still fight for your freedoms too, no matter what. You can give all the hate you want. I'm not gonna stop fighting.
Yeah, I got it.
Happy weekend to you, 24/7. You guys, 24/7 has a live, 24/7, obviously, camera where they live. And I actually hiked, um, they're right by 16th Street and Greenway, Lookout Mountain. And I actually hiked that mountain. So, and then it got too hot for me to hike. So I'm just gonna wait till it gets cool. Last weekend I spent the weekend out in the desert because I can. It's my desert. It's my home. I love my desert. We can't stop fighting ever. Our lives depend on it, and all our children. Exactly, G-Gab. Exactly. This is, like I said, those kids right there. They're our future. What kind of legacy are we leaving these kids if we don't do anything now? Just saying. Got a lot of equipment.
Yeah, we'll have to use other camera.
Scars Prospecting. Hello, welcome. God bless all you. Yes, Patriots unite. United, not divided, people. We've, you know, I'm sure it extends. So eventually I'll go around and talk to people. Actually, I can do that now. Find out what freedom means to these people, you know? Jake, my chat says hello. Hi, I'm back, you guys. Yay. Sorry about that. I kind of buffered for a little bit. Um, No, you did not do that. Hold on, I'm just going through chat that I missed. Less government telling. Yes. What am I doing today? I am hanging out with patriots. That's what I'm doing today. Yeah, smash that like button. I'm back now. Hello, Freckles. Yeah, we're back, G-Gap. It's hot out here. My phone might get hot, but hi, Andy. How are you? My back is soaking wet because it's like a billion degrees already. I have my backpack on. Thank you, Scars. You too. And freedom. Again, you guys, when I load this video, I will link the Forbidden Truth podcast on Rumble. Jake also has a merch site that you can find on Forbidden Truth Academy.
It'll go right to the merch.
There you go. I'll still link everything so you guys know. Yeah, this is everything. Can't say your ours. Well, GGAB summers or the summer season is not over, so you may get some more sometime. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'd kill for 65 degrees right now. In the desert last weekend, I about died, but I still walked 5 acres of property. When I'm bored, I go to the desert. That's what I do. Messed around and forgot to flag wave at 1 p.m., but it will be one somewhere when I get out. Oh, Carrie, you have a flag wave today? That's awesome. Hey, U-Haul, can you post some links for me? Can you post Carrie's if Carrie goes live? Carrie, is that the one Aruba was supposed to do too? Well, I know she was going to Bass Pro Shops to get some Freedom shirts like I did. Yeah. Hi, Nurse D. How are you? I'm going to show you guys my sky. This is... And then that big ugly yellow thing in the sky. But it's okay.
You're gonna have your drone, but beautiful if you're on mushrooms.
Little DMT ain't hurt no one, right? Every Saturday at who? At where? Oh, you don't video? Oh, okay. But at least you're out there doing something, you know? Hi, Dachshund Grandma. Hi, Zero. Okay. I'm going to be quiet because it looks like they're getting ready to start. So I am going I'm going to steal their shade.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Yeah. Share.
Gerald, he's a shaman. Doesn't he's into shamanism? That's true. I did. I should have corrected. Yes, I did. I should have known. But it doesn't matter whether they have any native in them. It's what you believe, in my opinion. So, just saying. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep it down here for a little bit. Thank you to the rest of my lurkers that are watching. Everybody say hi to my lurkers who are probably against freedom, but freedom. Again, the beauty of America, freedom. Just saying. Podcast. Well, Podbean is. Okay, good. I don't consider you a lurker either, Samuel. At least you popped into chat to say hey. There are others out there, though. I know. Exactly, 24/7. There you go, Carrie. I'm just gonna see what. I know I'm on StreamYard, you guys, because Prism uses my data storage. So, hello, Jeffrey. I think I missed you. I don't know if I saw you earlier. I thought I did. Hello. Bear with me, guys. I'm gonna extend my. Oh my gosh, Carrie, I'm gonna have to look at that. Oh, hi, Christine. Hi, Mama Red. I'm just standing up. I can't see chat.
You got me on meeting. Test us. You guys ready? Two politicians go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. I'm on the way. Two politicians go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Shake it back, tell a friend. Yes, I'm back, yes, I'm back, yes, I'm back, yes, I'm back, yes, I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, and freedom lovers worldwide, today is the 27th day of May 2023, and he is back. The space-faring species we are meant to be, we must rise to this occasion and walk through this window of opportunity. Each and every one of us have been awaiting for
Thank you,
eons.
you all.
In order to accomplish this, we must unite as one and as humanity. The biggest secret in the world today is that we all share a common enemy, and it's not each other. Peace is the prize. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marcus Cohen, and I'm here with the other half of this dank duo, Chadwick, and introducing the star of the show, Jake Angeli. This is Forbidden Truth Podcast, the podcast of America's Shaman, the Super Diamond. Let freedom roar. All right.
Wow, wow, wow. Like always, Marcus outdoes himself. What do you think, Jake?
I always love his intros.
Thank you.
Yes, and we send a very special welcome to all you true seekers, spiritual warriors, and proud patriots alike. We have a special show. We are down live at the ley lines here at the Arizona State Capitol. And Jake, what is different about the ley lines today that you see hanging from the building on the Capitol?
Well, they have a pride flag hanging from the Capitol building. The thing is that the pride flags are hanging higher than the American flag, which that's no good. You know?
No.
Against
That's actually
flag
very
code.
disrespectful. So I'm
Flag
kind of
etiquette.
appalled that is going on right now.
Well, sometimes you'll see like regular like people do that, but to see our government like state building do that, like that's you said to me that's sign of Nazism. That was the first thing you said.
Well, what I said is that it might as well be a Nazi flag.
And why is that?
Well, because they're using all the same tactics that the Nazis used.
Right.
You know, silencing free speech. This idea of infiltration instead of invasion.
The propaganda.
The way they're pushing it, all of that stuff.
Yeah. And that goes right into this last week's episode of what we released, which is a special episode, Jake. It was the very first episode we recorded, Psychological Warfare, and we recorded it while you were in prison. You were locked up. You want to keep getting the truth out there down here at the Capitol. We recorded that, and it holds so strong to this very day, this psychological warfare that's going on.
You're
in our
welcome,
country.
Nurse Steve.
Well, yeah, and hence the flag. You know, it is a form of psychological warfare, because the thing is, if you look for it, this flag is all over the planet. It is all over the globe. It's in capitals all over the planet. It's in the city streets everywhere. And like, I saw an image where somebody had I think it was like either stapled or hung a British flag. I think it was in England. They hung a British flag from one of the pride flags in the streets.
Wow.
And then the police came up and took down the British flag.
Whoa.
Why?
Wow.
Yeah, you know, while you were locked up, we would be coming here, and we realized the Ukraine flag for a while was at the front of the Capitol, and we would have a discussion about, you know, who made that decision, right? Who made that decision? And if we're putting up the Ukraine flag, why not other flags, right? If we're gonna showcase other countries' flags besides our own, why not? You know, why not Africa's flag, and why not, right? Like, who's making these decisions is the point. It's forcing it down your throat that you have to, you know, go along with the war. I mean, they're celebrating war, essentially.
Targeted propaganda.
Right.
That's why it was not any other flag, that specific flag.
Right. Well, and think about it. COVID cured the flu, and Ukraine cured COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's psychological warfare.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because what they're doing is they're using propaganda to push and push and push. And what is it about propaganda that they do? Repetition. Over and over and over again. They say the same things over and over and over again. They use specific colors. They use specific verbiage. They use specific images. All of these things trigger an emotional response. And then that emotional response is then used toward their end, the goal of the propaganda itself.
Right. It's a true science. This is something the CIA studied back in the 60s.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
That's right.
Which is a form of syntax, right? What you're talking about.
Well, syntax is the use of language or words to basically describe the world to yourself. So yes, it's hijacking syntax, because they're creating a narrative and they're pushing it in the mind. Yeah. And they're pushing it and reinforcing it over and over and over again until it becomes socially reinforced. So if you don't believe the narrative, then you become ostracized.
Is syntax something like the transgender, all the letters they just keep throwing on there to like kind of confuse you? You know, I don't even know how many letters they are. You know,
yeah. Well, as you know, there's an unlimited amount of gender, so you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at it like this, and this is kind of my opinion on all this stuff with the flag and the LGBTQI whatever, a whatever plus. They have hijacked and co-opted the homosexuals and even many transgenders' desire to just blend into society. Mm-hmm. They are using this minority group as a shield for their agenda.
And a bully pulpit, right?
And a what?
Like they're bullying people from that stance.
Yes. Well, it's because the people that are behind that shield are actually the globalists and these pedophiles. They're the ones that are pushing this sexualization of children. Okay. And I saw it coming in 2020. I saw it coming before that. And I have a bunch of videos on my YouTube that was basically saying, yeah, they're trying to sexualize children. I'm telling you, they're going to try to normalize pedophilia soon. Watch and see. And I mean, Twitter and Instagram in 2020 were using these pedophile hashtags to communicate. Facebook too. Now that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, I don't think it's as pervasive, but I just saw something the other week about how Instagram was being used as a channel for these pedophiles to communicate, and they had these hashtags about pedophilia and boy love and all this other stuff, and everything's fine, Why aren't they getting censored?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And I sat down, I did an interview with Joseph Flynn, and during that interview, he said, either during that interview or during the time of talking with him, he said, before every collapse of every major civilization, right before the collapse was a loss of gender identity. And I think that's like the ultimate like form of chaos. If you can't even have the common sense to know gender, you have no moral standard at all. And that's pure demoralization right there.
Right. Well, think about it. If you're trying to destroy the nuclear family, which that is their goal because they want to depopulate the planet, they're trying to destroy the nuclear family so that this idea of population growth stops. Because how do you make children? A man and a woman get together and they have children. Know? So if you're able to confuse the people, you're able to create this illusion that there are multiple genders and that this idea of sexuality is fluid. And the thing is like, okay, homosexuality has been around for thousands of years. As long as it's between two consenting adults, who cares? And yes, in like places like the Philippines and Thailand and stuff, this idea of, it wasn't per se transgenderism because they're not putting themselves on hormones, they're not cutting their genitals and stuff like that. But this idea of men dressing up as females in these locations has happened for thousands of years. However, when you try to force that on a whole generation of children, and you're pushing drugs that are known not only to cause cancer and other diseases and stuff like that, but also genital mutilation surgery that is irreversible, then we're getting into a new level of depravity. You know what I'm saying? We're getting into a new level of demoralization.
That's right.
Where they're literally making it to where a whole generation of kids are confused about their sexuality, confused about their gender, and in some cases are even being put on hormones that will destroy their bodies for the rest of their lives.
Can you imagine the psychological effect in the future these people are going to have, that have done these changes to their body?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of them have already come out and talked about it. And they basically said that they heavily, heavily regret it. And the crazy part is, and this is my thinking about it. Let's say you have a 10-year-old and that 10-year-old says they identify as a heroin junkie.
Yeah.
Is the parent going to be like, okay, well, let's go get you a belt and a needle, and we're gonna give you a box to sleep in on the streets, and we're gonna inject you with heroin every day? No, that's ludicrous, right? So why is it that we are allowing parents, the government, to take kids from parents that are refusing to change their child's body chemistry by putting them on these hormones, or literally change their bodies forever by giving them these surgeries, a still developing body?
Right.
So that's a whole new subject. Like, parents that don't want that to happen are getting in trouble by the government. Is that what's going on?
In California, yeah, and
gosh.
I think other places too, like Oregon and Washington, and I think New York. They're starting to pass these laws where if you don't affirm your child's identity, then the government can come in and take them and put them on hormones and even get them gender reassignment surgery before they have become an adult.
Well, with my first child, they threatened CPS, and like 3 days finally I was in tears just because they wanted to take my kid, my baby, newborn, put a shot in him just in case he was sick. Not because he was sick, just in case. So we're one step away from that here in Arizona, so that's pretty scary stuff.
Well, there's a woman named Kathy Hoffman here I think she was here in the school board or in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she wanted to teach anal sex and sexuality to kindergartners.
That's right. That was happening in other parts of the country, actually. 5-year-olds.
Yes.
Yeah. And to your point on the state coming in and taking children because the parents reject, there's also another side to it. There are parents who are going along with this and being pressured. They've been thoroughly brainwashed through psychological warfare, techniques. And, whether you want to call them woke or whether you want to say they have social peer pressure, they want to essentially surrender to whatever their child says. You know, to your point, if they identify as a heroin addict or a lion, what do you do at that point? So there's a major culture war happening, and it's a war for the mind. It really is. We're getting attacked from all directions in that regard, in many regards. But you know, that's the other side to it as well.
Well, yeah, the mind is the battlefield. So if they lose the battleground of the mind, they lose their full spectrum dominance.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why they have to maintain the mind and that control. That's why they create as much and as intense of a psychological divide in the country as they can. That's why they use the divisive propaganda that they have. Because, I mean, think about it. If everybody can gather together and agree on some basic fundamental principles, then society can actually march forward based on those fundamental principles. But if you've indoctrinated even just a third or 25% of a population to believe something that is entirely false or radical, then you can really do some damage in that country. The country itself will tear itself apart. And that's the point. It doesn't have to be the whole country. It just has to be enough of the people in the country.
Critical mass. And this is something that Yuri Bezmen's office, this is what he describes, right? We covered this extensively. You know, you don't even need the full population. You just need a certain amount. And it's almost like, you know, your perception is reality. So it's similar to what they do on the Mockingbird media. Is they'll put a talking point out there that may not even be close to the truth, but they saturate the airways with it. People believe it to be true, and then it essentially becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. It's critical factor bypass. It is subconscious programming. And because it is saturated everywhere in the media, people believe that it's true.
Right.
It bypasses their critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe it's true, and then they operate from this stance that this is reality.
Correct. And they do that. An example of that is polling, right? They'll put polls out saying, you know, this amount of people are into this or think one way or the other. And, you know,
Kathy Hoffman.
by default,
like
the poll is just
school
a
board
sample
person.
of people. But, you know, we're conditioned to believe this is the general consensus of you know, the thought, right? And how many people do you guys know that take polls? You know, I
don't know anybody.
I don't know anyone.
Never met anybody that got called by a pollster.
Who are these people? And I'm not saying the polls don't happen. And let's not forget about they're skewed and they're oversampled and they manipulate just the data itself. But this idea, they don't even have. The point is they don't even have to do a poll. They could just say we did a poll and put the response on there, and now people are going to go around saying, oh, look, you know, 50% of Americans believe this.
Now let's talk about something regarding psychological warfare really quick. So the way that the brain works, the way that the neurons communicate with each other is multidimensional. So what that means is that, like, let's say you have a cube, right? You can put a cube inside of a cube inside of a cube as many times as you want. You just have to make the cube smaller, right? So this is how the neurons in our brain are structured, is that you have a pattern, and then inside of that pattern of neurological connections, you have another smaller pattern, another version, and then another version, and then another version. And all the neurons connect on a multidimensional level like that. Does that make sense? Okay. So what's even more interesting is that if you look at a symbol, then that symbol and that shape will end up taking shape and hold of the way the neurons in the brain are structured.
Matter is malleable.
Yes. Well, think about this though. How many symbols do we see in society, in corporations, that mimic, say, a cube or a square?
Yeah. Lots.
Okay. And how is that affecting the mind? Right? If, for example, you have a simple shape like a cube, then the neurological connections are not going to be in anywhere near as a large amount of abundance as if you had something like something in the shape of like the Star of David, right? Or like the Merkaba, the star tetrahedron, right? So there's a lot more connections that can be made because the shape is more complex. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if you have everybody looking at this at this cube, then it will affect the mind. And it actually does go back to this idea of like Saturn and the cube and the top of the North Pole of Saturn being this hexagram,
the
hexagonomy,
sacred geometry.
yes, and all of that stuff. Yes, exactly. So it's a matter of controlling the electromagnetic pattern and thusly the chemicals released in the brain, right? And if you're able to reinforce that over and over and over again and create a very specific pattern over an entire lifetime, then you can end up weaponizing a whole population against each other or against another nation.
Angie, I didn't
Because
mean
now
to
you're controlling
usurp
the electrical pattern,
your
the
speech
neurological
and the
pattern in your brain,
rally.
and
This
thusly
was
you're
a
controlling
last
the
minute,
chemicals
and
that
I
get
like hauled
dispensed
ass down the
based on that
freeway to
neurological
get
pattern.
here.
So this is not only used for mind control, but also I'm sure heavily by marketing companies.
Oh, big time. Think about it. If I say ba da ba ba ba,
I'm loving
if I
it.
say give me a break, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
You just know it, right? It's
Okay.
embedded.
It is. Now they also use colors. Notice McDonald's uses lots of bright yellows and bright reds along with the white, right?
Right.
Burger King, same bright red. Okay, they got bright yellow in there too, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Is that to infect the emotional
Well,
feeling?
from what I understand, is these things cause hunger.
And yellow is also the most recognized color in nature.
Okay,
Amongst-
so it stands out. It pops
stands out, yeah.
Right. So if you're driving down the road and then you see yellow, red,
Okay, cool.
you know, these things draw the eye.
Right.
You know, and then you have the jingle going on in your head. Man, I'm loving it. Oh man, you know, McDonald's sounds. It's more. The McDonald's sounds good right now.
Yeah.
That's all the worst stuff you can put in your body.
This gets into marketing, like you said, Chadwick, and advertising. There's a book by Charles Duhigg. It's The Power of. I forgot the name of it, but Charles Duhigg, and it's fascinating on marketing and triggers, right? And you could hear a tune. You may not be hungry, but just because you like the tune, you then get hungry because you associate. So, we're being programmed, reprogrammed, deprogrammed at all times. And it also goes into subliminal messaging and direct messaging. And, that's where you get into a lot of the more darker sort of sides of this, where, whether it's pop culture and music videos or just commercials that you see or movies, there's things that your eye cannot physically see. Your brain cannot process it, yet you are taking it in. You're taking in these shapes, you're taking in these sounds, these words, and they're actually doing something to you when you're even not aware of it.
Yes, it's subconscious programming. It's called backmasking. Now think about this. All of the people that were freaking out about COVID, right? All the people that were freaking out and wearing masks and all that stuff, these are the same people that completely forgot about it once the war in Ukraine started. And then these are the same people that are freaking out and saying we have to support Ukraine. You see what I'm saying?
It reminds me of that meme Elon put out with all the NPCs, like, I support whatever is happening now, and it just has all the crazy signs.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll put that up.
It's well, the point is that it's about how easy it is to create this mass hypnosis, this mass formation, based on pushing this propaganda over and over and over and over again, and making the message really simple. Simply support the war in Ukraine. Simply, Putin is a war criminal. Push it. COVID is deadly. COVID is deadly. Wear a mask. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Fear, the number one form of control.
And how do we actually know what's going on, right? Like, remember the gassing in Syria, for example. There was a lot of talk. There's a lot of insiders that were saying, that was completely staged, or whatever the argument is. How do you they know people get their news from the TV screen, from the internet, from mainly mainstream Mockingbird media outlets. So, the point is you really don't know what's going on. And there's this, we're all conditioned to trust what we see from these outlets, to believe that's the reality, right? It's just like when you see CNN everywhere on the airports and all this stuff. It's a conception that CNN is more popular than it is, because it's really not. There's only like 400,000 viewers, during their prime time, which is, like someone
Yeah,
like
they
Mark
are
Dice on
pushing
YouTube
it
gets
good.
that per video.
Right.
Real good.
So,
Hello to Martha. We got Jake's mom in the chat. She says
Oh,
hi.
hi, Ma.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about that though is that these agendas that are being pushed on the
You
public
all,
have
can
long-term
you
consequences.
link the
It's not
Forbidden
just
Truth
something really
podcast
quick.
from Rumble,
You know,
if you
it's
can?
something that is long-term. It is a chess move that will have
Because they
effects
are
for
live right
decades
now.
afterward. For example, look at the war in Afghanistan, the
Yeah.
war in Iraq.
Yeah.
We were only supposed to go there and what? Get rid of Al Qaeda or the Taliban. And how long were we there? 20 years. And then think about this. With the disastrous withdrawal,
right.
okay, we gave the Taliban and thusly China and Russia, because they border Afghanistan, and are working with the Taliban to get all of this military equipment that we left behind.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We gave them a bunch of guns, we gave them a bunch of ammo, we gave them a bunch of SUVs and Humvees. We gave them tanks, we gave them helicopters. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they abandoned
Thanks,
the
you all.
battlefield essentially.
And another long-lasting effect that's been placed on our country due to fear is the TSA.
Oh yeah.
That was never a thing until 9/11, and now we our rights are being violated every time you go in there. Women being groped, women who children, and really your privacy being taken advantage of.
Well, not to mention the fact that your body's being radiated.
Yes.
Yes, I for a very, very long time always opted out of the TSA scanners. For very, very, like almost exclusively every time I would travel.
What's the trade-off?
I'd rather have my nuts fondled than have to be freaking, going through an X-ray machine.
Yes,
like that.
and especially
I'll tell you that right now.
Absolutely, and if you're traveling a lot too, you have to consider that, right?
Right.
If you're traveling a lot, which I was traveling a lot for a period of time, and I wanted to opt out of getting irradiated by, these machines, every time. It's one thing doing it once in a while, right? But and also to your point with the TSA, what bothers me is how how inconsistent it is, right? There was one time that I accidentally left a pocket knife in my backpack. And usually I'm pretty good at going through everything, making sure, I don't have anything that's going to cause a problem. And when I landed, I was shocked. I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot this is in my bag. And then I thought back, this is crazy because like a month prior, I made the same mistake, but I remembered, oh, I left this knife in my bag, pocket knife, and I had to mail it to myself. I didn't want to throw it away. So at the airport, I had to go to the post office at the airport and I mailed it to myself because they wouldn't let me on with it, which is fair, right? But then a month later, it's in my backpack and I don't even get stopped. And it's like, where's the consistency here, And they're holding up people, taking time. Meanwhile, they're letting known terrorists get on planes. So.
Well, dude, known terrorists are coming across the freaking border right now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think about this. During the mass migration, legal migration in like the early 1900s, right?
Border control.
You had a bunch of people coming over here going through immigration, and they were checked for disease, they were checked for criminal records, they were checked for all of this stuff, right? Where's that at the border now? It's non-existent. In fact, you're more likely to get over the border and into the country to stay illegally than you are if you do it the legal route. What's up with that? The hypocrisy is unparalleled.
And that's really messed up for the people trying to do it the right way to get into this country. Been waiting on a list for 10 years. And or get rejected or whatever it may be, and
Joe
coming
has
across.
a video out there
the
about
government acts
two
like they're trying to do
unaccompanied
the right
minors
thing.
coming over
That's
in
why I say the
Yuma,
hypocrisy
Arizona.
is unparalleled, because like they're pretending like they're trying to look out for people's safety and that they're doing the right thing by denying people legal means to come into the country. But if you're an illegal alien coming across the border from God knows where, I mean, they just opened the mental institutions and the jails in Venezuela and all these other countries, and they're coming across the border. And like the amount of crime that has been created by some of these individuals, think about the damage that one person can do. You know, and we have literally like at this point, I think it's like 1.8 million gotaways, quote unquote. These are people that did not want to be caught by the border patrol. They didn't want to be processed. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
You're up to no good if you're
criminal.
running and hiding.
Well, and the whole thing is that with these, like, it's like 5 million, I think, at this point, or something like that, of these people that are like crossing the border and coming to border patrol and saying basically take us in. These people want to be processed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they
once
know
you're
they'll
through the
get in.
door,
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Once you're through the door. Yeah.
Because of who's in office.
Right.
You see, but so that makes me go, okay, hold on a second. 1.8 million people that don't want to be discovered or processed. Why is that?
And that's probably a low number.
Oh yeah, it's probably not even accurate.
Right.
Yes.
And what's crazy, we
Like the
were
polls.
going to protest here. We went to one in Scottsdale, one in Chandler, but we went out to some of these places, these hotels, where they're just boarding and housing the illegals. They're driving them down and just giving them a hotel. There's a whole entire hotel and protecting them there until they're getting shipped off into wherever in the country.
Kicking out
Well, now
our
think about
veterans.
this. Psychological warfare. How does it apply in this case? Well, number one, they're not talking about the human trafficking problem, which is basically the modern day slave trade. So instead of calling it the slave trade, we're calling it human trafficking.
Mhm.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, instead of saying they are an illegal alien or an illegal person that is they're in the country illegally, they're calling them an undocumented migrant. You see how they're changing the label.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah, I see.
And it's the same thing with like all this LGBTQAI stuff,
Okay.
right? They're changing the label for things like pedophilia and saying, you know, they're a minor attracted person. They're not a pedophile.
Right. Now,
Do you see what I'm
is
trying
that
to
the
say?
same? That's the same as neuro-linguistic programming, right?
It is. Well, yeah, that's
Right.
yes, exactly.
That's what you're describing essentially. It's the reprogramming through language.
Yes.
And you know, the LGBTQ AI plus, I believe I got it there. And I know they've been using AI for a while, in that tagline. And you know, maybe I'm ignorant to it, but I don't know what the AI stands for in that. But interestingly enough, you know, here we are in the AI age coming in. You kind of wonder if that was something that was planned, right? They kind of predictive programming will put certain things out there before to kind of get people ready for it.
Well, and the thing is about the quote unquote Q in the
Is my cat
LGBTQ
frozen?
queer theory was actually created by people that were pedophiles or at least pedophile sympathizers. You know what I'm saying? Kinsey was one of them, and Money, I believe the guy's name was, I think he was like a professor or something. I think he might have been a doctor, but these people created this theory that gender was fluid and that children could be sexualized. Even, you know, and Kinsey was talking about like even infants have sexuality, and it's just like, you've got to be
Disgusting.
kidding. Yeah, it's like what, and he was like getting his information on this stuff from people that were in prisons convicted of like pedophilia and stuff like that. So it's interesting to me
Thank
because
you.
the only way that they can push this on the public is
You
if
go,
they
Chica.
rebrand it.
Mhm.
They have to rebrand
Exactly.
everything, just like vaccines. They have
Right.
to rebrand what a vaccine is. These COVID vaccines are not vaccines. They're gene therapy,
That's right.
mRNA gene therapy.
DNA.
But they'll call it booster. You know?
Yeah, a booster. Yeah,
You know, something
a
good.
booster.
Yeah, usually it's the opposite of what they say it is, so it's probably the opposite of a booster.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Down.
Well, and it's the
Yeah.
same thing with the bills that they make. So the infrastructure bill, right?
Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act. Yeah. Anything but patriotic, anything but, you know, anything for infrastructure. The COVID Relief Act. Well, guess what? There was not any real relief from COVID, was there?
Correct.
Hey, you mentioned Kathy earlier, and I don't know why it keeps getting stuck in my head. Was she the woman that took her oth on the Dr. Seuss book?
That is correct.
That's where I remember.
Oh
her
my
from. How a slap in the face, much of a slap in the face to the people can you get? And how's that even legal? I guess you could do it on any book. But...
Well, I think that's the point that she was making, that she doesn't believe in the Bible. She doesn't believe in God. She's going to take her oath on a Dr. Seuss book, and that should be sufficient. You know, and these are the people that are trying to teach our children, you know, and the thing is that they understand the kids and this next generation are their most valuable asset. And I think it was Malcolm X said, only a fool would allow his enemy to teach his children. Right?
Absolutely.
And
That's a great quote.
yeah. And he also said, be careful, because the media will have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. Wow. So think about what's going on with this LGBTQIA, you know, agenda, which is actually like a pedophiles are co-opting the homosexual agenda, because there's like gays against groomers.
Right.
You know, these people have come out and said, no, we're not for this. You don't fucking speak for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No, we're not for what you're saying.
Right.
And there's even transgenders that have come out and, you know, they've had the surgery, they've taken the hormones and all that stuff, and they say, leave the kids alone.
Right.
I knew a transgender person in prison. When I asked them about all this stuff regarding children and transgenders, you know, surgeries and hormones and stuff, they basically said that they didn't believe that it was possible to transition too late, but there is such a thing as transitioning too early.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's kind of general science consensus that kids develop, and like, you know, there's a reason, you know, they say, I think you're not fully developed as an adult until 25, is it? Yeah. So if that's, you know, if we trust the science and you know, on that end, by that logic, then that should mean, you know, your body's still changing and it could have irreparable harm. The same way they say you don't want to smoke, you know, marijuana if you're still developing, if you're still a young child, right?
Let alone drink alcohol or take
alcohol,
hormones that are used to chemically castrate, you know, pedophiles and
right,
rapists.
Right. No, it's pretty wild. You know, to your point about relabeling pedophiles as what did you say it was?
MAPS, minor attracted persons.
Minor attracted persons, and there was a TED Talks of a woman, a TED Talks where she was talking about how, you know, we have to accept adults in society that are attracted to children and minors.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that, yeah. And you know, this is already a couple of years old, ladies and gentlemen. So like, this is,
they've been pushing it a while.
This has been coming, like you said. A lot of people were you know, warning about it. And see what it does. It creates a great division, because you have people that really, you know, do mean well in terms of wanting you know, most people don't have a problem with what you want to do with your body or your sexuality. If you're homosexual, straight, bi, like most people don't care, right?
As long as it's between consenting adults.
As long as it's between consenting adults. Correct. And you know, the children is one aspect, but the other aspect is you know, it creates such division because there's so much confusion about it. There's so, just like everything that we have being blasted at us, you know, in pop culture and the media. But you know, it's meant to, you know, there is a line, and that line is blurred, right? So it keeps people that would otherwise find common ground on this issue and many issues, it keeps them fighting.
Exactly. And that's the point, is that they want to keep the division. Yeah. They want to blur the line, because if you blur the line, then people will keep arguing about where the line is drawn.
Right.
But I think that every single person in this country that is on the right or on the left, for the most part, because obviously there's some people that are just whack, but can agree pedophilia is wrong.
Right.
Can agree that is immoral, that grown adults should not be sleeping with children. So that right there is a very simple, well, are you for pedophilia or against it? And that's why I think that we need to learn how to use some of these techniques to really draw the line and make it clear. So if you got somebody that is, you know, at one of these rallies and screaming about, you know, equal rights for trans kids, ask them, are you for or against pedophilia? Like, I'm just curious, like, right. what's your belief on this? Because, and this is why I love Gays Against Groomers so much, because the point is that you have adults that are on the homosexual preference side of things, but they're looking at the situation and going, well, I'm not for pedophilia. They're making the very clear distinction of like, no, we're talking about consenting adults.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where a lot of that confusion comes in, is you'll have someone objecting to this whole idea of indoctrinating kids and giving them, hormone therapy and genital mutilation and all this stuff. And then now you're homophobic, you hate all gay people, and you're scum of the earth. And like, that's the same technique they use with Donald Trump. Like, if you agreed with one thing, or disagreed, now
You're a racist.
You're racist, or you're this or that.
Homophobe, a bigot.
Right. It's those labels, and they love labeling people to keep us divided.
It's crazy. You have to ask that question. Are you for or against pedophilia? Like, that should just be a given. But we are in that day and age. Like you said, that TED Talks. And there was a lot of comments of people like agreeing with that person. And that's a normal thing. They're trying to normalize.
Here.
And we cannot allow that to happen. We have to be disgusted. And we did an interview with the two women. We declared war against pedophilia. Remember that?
Right.
So, pretty insane stuff. Maxwell, she was doing a lot of the trafficking with the islands. And this was something I was going to bring up to you. She was trying to purchase ocean land. What do you think about the purchasing of land, the waters? Because evidently that's a big thing the pedophilia, the elites are trying to do for trafficking.
Well, from what I understand, I don't know how true it is. I heard that Maxwell was a submarine captain.
Yes, that's true.
Interesting.
And that the island itself actually had like a submarine port.
So
That's how they were not just trafficking in children, but also in drugs and stolen art and all sorts of things like weapons and stuff like that. So that they didn't have to fly a plane in, they could just take a sub out into the ocean.
It's like a movie. I always say almost everything you see on TV is fake, while almost everything you see in movies is real. And
Thanks, Tommy.
it's a pretty, like what you just described sounds like a James Bond movie or a Mission Impossible movie of the villain would have this underground sub where they take the stolen art and the people they kidnap.
Stuff's going on.
It's real life. I mean, this is happening, and people are waking up to it, and they're doing everything they can to get people to not talk about these things.
Well, have you heard about the Getty Museum?
Yes.
The underground tunnels?
Well, yeah, not just that, but how it's used as like a hub for child and human trafficking, as well as the trafficking of drugs, art, stolen art, artifacts, animals, anything that's black market, firearms.
That was a place I went to a field trip on when I was in school. I grew up in Los Angeles County there, and that's regarded right as like such a prestigious place. And of course, when I was young, I didn't know those things, but it's wild thinking about it looking back. We were taken there.
Good thing you didn't end up missing.
Yeah.
You're still here.
Let's bring it back to psychological warfare really quick, because it's really important to note things like about Ghislaine Maxwell, right? The Getty Museum, the LGBTQAI plus agenda, okay? The globalist movement, right? All of these things, the pride flag over every single nation's capital around the world.
And corporations.
Right? And corporations, right? Yes, and that's very important. Thank you. Okay, in banks even, right? What we're looking at here is the veil being lifted regarding how it is that the mind is the battlefield, how it is that there are very real techniques that are being employed right now that have been being employed for decades, even centuries if you go back to the Catholic Church, about programming our mass collective consciousness by hijacking our collective consciousness. And that is the power they seek to exploit, because us as individuals have this observer effect on the quantum realm, right? We have the ability to essentially create reality.
Right.
Okay. Now imagine what can happen when we have literally millions or billions of people seeing reality based on an illusion that they're given, and then literally spending their money or devoting their time and their energy and stuff like that to an agenda that is serving less than 1% of the population. And how that is hijacking our creative capabilities and the timelines that we will create, how we're basically being moved toward extinction without even knowing it, with AI, with back with the COVID jabs, with the pesticides in the food, with the chemtrails in the air. You see what I'm saying? With the destruction of whole ecosystems.
The soft kill.
Yeah, yes, it's going to take generations to happen. But we will, if we continue down the road we're on, we will not get 7 generations. We won't make it to the 7th generation.
So what's the most important thing to start changing now? Eating, what goes in your mind, what goes in your mouth, like what's the most
important? Well, that's the thing. It all interconnects. What are you consuming mentally? What are you watching on TV? Because think about it like this. How many movies, and I think we maybe said this in another podcast, but I'll just say it again. How many movies came out about a dangerous viral outbreak in Hollywood?
Right.
And oh no, lo and behold, it was so deadly and everybody was dying, blah, 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 right?
Agent.
Yes, okay. World War Z, 28 days later, Resident Evil, okay? Like the list goes on and on and on, right? Now think about this. How many of the people that were scared shitless because of COVID had seen those movies and were primed mentally by those movies to fear the worst if the media came out and said, a virus, a virus, a virus.
Exactly.
I am legend. Okay, like how many people?
Yeah, it's a great question.
But this is the psychological programming that I'm talking about and how it's been going on for a long time.
To answer, millions upon millions upon millions of people were programmed worldwide with those movies. You know, and this was also before all those movies you happen to mention were before kind of the streaming age, right? So like movies, people went to go see these movies and thoroughly programmed, ready for something like that. And, you know, I remember thinking, since you brought it up, I remember thinking when this all started happening in 2020 and they started the lockdowns, I remember, you know, talking to my friends, like you would think there was a zombie apocalypse, the way people are reacting. And then you realize, okay, essential businesses. So marijuana dispensaries are open. Is that essential?
Strip clubs are open.
Strip clubs are open. Like, okay, well, if this is really as bad as they're saying, then like, okay, maybe we should stay in if we go outside and we immediately can't breathe and we just die. But that's not what was happening. And I remember thinking, like, that's the way they're portraying it. You would think that the second you step outside, you're done, right? So it never made sense. And, it really took advantage of really the most weak-minded people. And you know, by no volition of their own. These are people, by the way, when I say weak-minded people, that have been, you know, products of being attacked by all these mechanisms you're talking about. And we are products of our environment, right? Like growing up, if you're like my parents, I went to McDonald's, you know, once a week with my brother when we were younger. It was a thing. You know, my parents didn't know better, right? My parents eat organic now, right? But when growing up, it's like, you know, that's why we love junk food, because most of us have eaten junk food a long time, you know, so our bodies kind of crave it. But, you know, we don't want to blame others. You know, there are people that choose to be ignorant, but there's a lot of people that are just a product of their environment by no fault of their own.
Well, and so to answer your question, think about this. If there are poisons in the food that are mind altering and that make you dumber, literally make you less smart and inhibit your cognitive function,
right?
Do you want to eat that? No. You know what I'm saying? But it's difficult for people because they've gotten in a routine. They go to the store. They like the Lay's potato chips. They like the Frosted Flakes Kellogg cereal. They like the Lucky Charms. They like eating the McDonald's or the spicy McChicken or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They don't think about the idea that that's a genetically modified quote unquote apple.
Right.
It's if they're eating fruit at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it requires what? It requires change. But where's the change first?
Within.
That's right.
You have to get in your own mind and say, I'm not going to eat that anymore. I don't care if I have a craving. Fuck that.
Willpower.
Not going to do it.
Mind over matter.
Yes. Well, and then the interesting part is that once you get in the habit of not eating it and doing something else and eating something else, then it just becomes second nature. You don't even think about that. Like, dude, I do not crave McDonald's.
If you were to eat it, you'd probably get sick.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like if you stop drinking soda, for example, and then you just take a sip, if it just touches your tongue, you will get a stomachache. That's happened with me before. Well, when I've stopped drinking soda, and then
I stopped eating pork, and so I stopped eating pepperoni pizza, and by accident ate a pepperoni pizza. took one bite, and I like about threw up.
Right.
Like literally about threw up in the moment. It was like so gross. I was like, what? This used to be so good. I couldn't even imagine not eating that. And then you stop eating that. So it's just about that change. It's all mental if you don't go through it. One thing, Marcus, you said, which is, I hear what you're saying, weak-minded people, but even the strongest of minds, if you're listening to this stuff, can be controlled.
Correct.
You know, there's no type of mind that's like, oh, I have a strong mind, so I'm going to be able to I'll hold these frequent, unless you're America's shaman. Yeah, you guys threw it off. But yeah, so another thing was the media, dude, the news. Just think about it, like 8 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, nobody was really yelling fake news, you know? It was a normal thing to watch, even CNN at one point, you know, for a lot of people, maybe 10 years ago. Fox News, you and I haven't watched Fox News for a long time, especially 2020. We were really upset with what they did here. But this form of control that they use in the propaganda is for a time, like, so just think all those years that they've been doing this without us knowing it. You know,
And that's my point.
Yeah.
Is that what we're witnessing now with the LGBTQAI, with Ukraine, with the COVID, all of these things, those same techniques that have been ramped up now have been being used for decades.
Yeah.
And people just haven't noticed it. They haven't known it. They didn't want to believe that their own government would weaponize information against them.
Bavel, you talked about, it's being lifted. People are now starting to see what's been going on, you know, and it seems so crazy to so many people.
Well, now think about this. And I think I've said this in a previous podcast, but I'll say it again because repetition is very helpful. Sun Tzu, Art of War. If you want to know who your spies are, what you do is you take each of your generals and you bring them into your tent individually, and you give each of them a different piece of disinformation.
Right.
And then when that disinformation pops up in the enemy camp, you know who your spies are and what ranks they are in, right? So it's very similar to putting a different color dye marker in each of these different generals' minds, right? And then wherever that color of dye leaks, you know, oh, that's the one right there. Now check this out. Think about that dye marker that we're talking about as the LGBTQ AI flag, right? Or as the Black Lives Matter Antifa flag or support, right? It's like black dye or rainbow dye coming up in a corporation, coming up in a political figure, coming up in a bank, coming up in a news network, or a Hollywood movie,
or a basketball court,
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So think about that. What you're doing is you're seeing the veil being lifted.
Right.
You're seeing that all of these corporations have been in collusion with the globalist agenda all along. That it has been a massive, massive psychological warfare campaign, a massive distraction regarding basketball or Hollywood, or a massive corrupt collusion between corporate and banking and government interest in the case of politicians, bankers, and CEOs. You see what I'm trying to say?
That's actually a really good thing for us because they're exposed. We can tell who they are in this
Exactly. Way. So come back to Sun Tzu, Art of War. We know who our spies are. And they're fucking everywhere. You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's kind of crazy. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people are so frightened, is because they don't know what to do. They feel surrounded.
And that's by design, right? To feel almost incapacitated, like you can't do anything, right? And that sort of feeling is used on many levels, across many different categories.
It's a psychological warfare technique. It's about basically causing your enemy to surrender without even fighting, because you get them to believe that resistance is futile.
I mean, it makes you wonder, like, just, general sense of, you think about when, if you're told you can't do something when you're a kid, and then you hear, oh, it's good to encourage others, and positive reinforcement, you can do this or do that. And just that real basic fundamental, you are capable of this or you're not capable of this. Why is that so powerful? Well, if you're told you can't do something, you believe you can't do it, right? So, like on a very kind of simplified version of what you're saying, that's a lot what it's like, when there's so much going against what you think can be done or should be done, and you're being told it's impossible, and then you see how everything's infiltrated all around you. I mean, you don't need to be told you can't do anything. You already know if you feel helpless.
Well, it's called learned helplessness.
Learned helplessness, right?
And it's this feeling of, well, what's the point? Who cares? It's not going to make a difference anyway.
Right.
But that is the one of the main tools of psychological warfare, is to make you experience that feeling of learned helplessness, to not even bother trying. That's the whole point of demoralization, not to know what's real and what's not, to the point where you throw up your hands and say, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna eat McDonald's. I'm gonna drink some Bud Light, and I'm gonna watch the football game because it wouldn't make a difference if I changed anyway.
Yeah.
That's what they want people to think.
Right. And not only that, we've at least up until COVID, I know the COVID helped accelerate kind of the breakdown of this, which is one of the positive silver linings in all of it. But leading up to that, we are putting this whole kind of system, right? This 9-to-5 corporatist system keeps people locked in, where you don't even have time. Like, you may care, but if you're the guy and you're working and you have a family to support, and you have to just focus on what's important, right? Getting food on the table and taking care of your family, or taking care of yourself even.
All these things are becoming increasingly harder.
Not
by the way.
on stream yet.
Harder. And I remember when COVID happened, those first couple weeks, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, if you guys remember.
Yeah, 2 weeks to stop the spread.
Yeah, stop the spread.
2.5 years later.
2.5 years later, I remember hearing it was really mind-opening for me to see how many people in the world haven't had a break in years, like decades, right? Because they got, all of a sudden they're working every day, they have a family, one thing is after the other. And, people were just worked to the bone. A lot of, whether, doesn't matter what they were doing, what level it was. There was just so many people that I realized never had a break to breathe, to have a moment, and, unless, a lot of people don't have that flexibility in their schedule. So it was interesting to see that. And I think that helped wake a lot of people up, because people had time to just chill and relax and look up conspiracy theories, or ask, really, it was you saw a lot of people just be red pill just because what they were seeing finally wasn't even adding up with their own logic. So they naturally researched, and it really did wake up a lot of people.
And the globalists overplayed their hand.
They overplayed their hand.
They
big time.
And their bluff was called, and now they're just basically playing the rigged game, and everybody at the table is getting more and more pissed. Because they're so tired of playing the rigged game, and the globalists are raking in the dough, even though they know everybody knows the game is rigged. And like I've said before, that this idea that they are playing a game with people's lives, and they're doing it for money and power. And it's so screwed up because nobody really knows what to do, but it's become so obvious at this point that everybody knows something has to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And what have they done preempting that? They have taken the idea of peacefully protesting at your capital and turned it into something that everyone fears, mainly because of the image they used of you. They associated your shocking image with shocking headlines that were misleading, right? To basically make everyone surrender to the idea that, oh no, this is bad. Like, we can't speak up. We can't use our First Amendment right to peacefully, assemble and protest. They knew this was coming, and that's also going to the psychological warfare. That is a huge tactic right there.
Yes.
And we must avoid distractions, and that's what you get by avoiding the mainstream media, Mockingbird media, these outlets. Jake, what do you think of the Durham report that was finally just released?
Well, I put a couple of videos up. They're each like a minute and a half. Thank you, Penny.
Thank you, Penny.
He's awesome at everything he does this week.
Definitely.
And both of those videos pretty much sum up, I think, everything that we already knew. So Durham did all this investigation, you know what I'm saying, for however many years, to come to the same conclusion that everybody in the public already came to, and that is the government's corrupt. The FBI knew the whole time that it was BS. It was collusion between these arms within the government, all trying to go after Donald Trump over a lie.
So is that just a big distraction to keep the Patriots at bay, relax? Something's going to happen here.
I wonder. I really wonder, because the thing is that, like, look at this. Look at Hunter Biden. Dude's getting a sweetheart deal.
Yeah.
Considering all of the real evidence that is out there in the public regarding him, possessing crack cocaine, screwing underage hookers, participating in human trafficking.
The laptop from hell.
Yeah, I mean, and when, like, we haven't even gotten into the financial crimes that are on the laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Very real financial crimes that are right there in black and white. They have the evidence, and they're going after him over lying on a federal form. A little, slap on the wrist. And while this is going on, everybody's distracted by this submarine. Now, the Navy knew on Sunday, the Coast Guard and Navy knew that thing's gone, Jack.
Right, it was a charade.
So they knew for like 2 days.
The media was, once again, they lied. The media lied.
Yeah.
And they caught them lying. Why are we trusting proven liars that lie consistently? It's like, if you have a spouse or a girlfriend or whatever, a boyfriend, and this person, you catch them cheating with somebody in your bed, and they say, no, he was just giving me a massage. No. Don't believe your lying eyes. And this happens again and again and again and again and again. And then it gets to a point to where they're like, yeah, well, so what? You don't give me what I want anyway, but I still love you.
Yeah.
Are you going to stay with that person? No,
Definitely not.
Hell no. So why are we in this relationship with these crooked politicians, with the crooked media, with these crooked corporations, these crooked banks? Why are we continuing to trust them when they've been caught in bed with the devil over and over and over and over again?
Yeah. And that submarine, there's a lot of interesting stuff around that. Huge distraction. It was very interesting when I first saw it. But the people aboard that, there was a WEF member aboard that. And then there was also someone that had ties to JP Morgan. And there was like over 30,000 emails deleted over the weekend. And what is interesting about that is where that took place, right? Right near the Titanic. And why was the Titanic sunk?
Because there were 3 international bankers that posed a threat to the establishment of the Federal Reserve Bank on the Titanic.
It's almost as if they use, there's always multiple things that happen for multiple reasons, right? There'll be one thing. So yes, was it a distraction? Yes, but what else was it? It was something they probably put out there as a symbolic gesture, sort of detailing whatever is going on with the banking system, which is a whole nother topic. But there's always, it's almost like mocking you in your face.
Well,
right?
and also maybe making the example of the people that were on board the sub.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right, who
And
also had interesting connections as well.
Now, one of the Rothschild, I think, I forgot his first name, but a Rothschild actually just purchased this Ocean Corp, or Ocean Inc. or Ocean Corp, whatever that was.
Ocean Gate?
Ocean Gate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he just like on the board or something like that. Like, so what in the hell is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what an interesting name too, Ocean Gate.
Yeah. On top of it all. So there's a lot of stuff that I know people are going to dig into it. You get the internet sleuths that just start digging in. And I think there's going to be some revelations that come from this whole situation, which was not only what came from it, but just a big distraction with the Biden thing, the emails being deleted.
Well, and apparently Leo DiCaprio, I think, testified this week about Obama getting $30 million or something from China. At least that's what I heard. I thought that happened a couple of months ago, but I was told that actually also happened over this past week, that he actually finally did testify, and that went public and all that stuff.
And don't put it past them that they don't do events like this just to scare one person, right?
Right.
I mean, it probably is very much, like you said, a distraction, specifically to distract away Hunter Biden's.
But dude, all of these.
But they're sending a message.
Yes, all of these things have multiple reasons.
Right.
Whenever they do something like this, there's multiple reasons why.
Right. I mean, that could have been a direct threat to Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, you better.
And that was gruesome.
Cut it out.
That was like like literally from the lungs exploded out. Like there's nothing left of those bodies.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, the pressure. You mean?
Yeah. The
Yeah,
pressure.
yeah.
Yeah, the implosion.
Well, at least it was
But-
instantaneous.
It was
You know what I
instant,
mean? It wasn't anything that took time.
Another thing they'll do to get rid of one person, if this is a situation that they want to get rid of one person, they'll take out a whole entire plane, you
Or
know,
a whole cruise liner.
or a whole
like the
cruise liner,
Titanic?
like the Titanic. Exactly.
Yes, that is
Like
correct.
MH370.
Well, and have you guys seen the movie? Have you seen Jack Reacher?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
There's in one of the movies. I know it's based on novels, but there's a guy that basically shoots like 5 random people to take out one person specifically, and then leave a paper trail and leave a trail of like fingerprints and stuff like that leading back to this other guy. So the whole thing is obfuscated and et cetera. And Reacher is the only one that can figure it out. But the point is that like when a corporation was behind all of it. Like a shadowy corporation using like basically money laundering and stuff like that, corruption, etc. So this is the pattern: is they will target a specific individual and take out a group of individuals because they don't care about human life, just so that one target will be lost in the crowd.
And like you said, the craziest point is they lied. They knew that happened, but not only did they lie, the amount of resources they allowed to have this like fake search,
Yes. Yes.
it's
Right.
insane.
Yeah.
They had
How elaborate.
different countries come in to help. How
Right.
elaborate.
How elaborate it was.
So there's something bigger there, guys. Seek the truth. Don't believe what you see. And if you're, I just remember first seeing that. I think it was just on a small YouTube channel, like someone saying, like, there's something weird about this. This is not the whole story. How many times do people go lost at sea? There's not this big, huge like story. Everyone, there was something going on. So distractions.
Yeah, it shows the power, right, of that whole apparatus, the Mockingbird Media, the power of the world stage that they have, and
The
the way they
emotion.
could, the emotion and all that.
You mess with someone's emotion, you get people to care. That's where people will tune in and put everything, all their time into it, and especially someone's life at line,
Yes.
And I just want to say one more thing about OceanGate to the point we were talking about earlier of like how do you know what's happening in other countries? Before they reported that the Navy knew about this and that they admitted that the vessel imploded, I was thinking because they at first said that they found the brace of it, they found a piece of it, but they didn't find the vessel yet before they admitted that they heard the noise. I was thinking at that moment, okay, I haven't seen any pictures of this piece that they found. Like, how do we actually know how do we know there's even a vessel, right? Like, and not to be that person that just says crazy things like that, but the point is like, we actually don't know. If they said that it's gone, the ship's gone, like, how do we actually know it's
go
gone?
down there and find out.
Like, how do we know it's gone? How do we know those people actually died? How do we know those people weren't kidnapped and are missing now?
Well, and to that point, this is what happens when you catch a proven liar lying over and over and over again, because at that point you realize you cannot trust anything that they say.
Yeah.
Right. And also, I just want to make the point here that all I'm doing here, for those listening, and it may sound crazy, why am I going there? All I'm doing is asking questions. And when you ask questions today, you're called a conspiracy theorist because you're questioning known liars, like you said. So, I pose that question. How do you know? How do you know that the ship's gone, or that a piece was found, or that it imploded?
Well, and then think about this. Let's bring it back to this idea of a cheating girlfriend or boyfriend or spouse, right? If you question where they were and what they were doing, what do they say? They say, you're crazy.
Mhm.
You're way too controlling. You are, you're smothering me, right? Anything but addressing the actual issue. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's the same thing with the media. It's the same thing with the government, is that when you are questioning proven liars, they're going to do everything that they can to make it seem like, no, you're the bad guy. You shouldn't be questioning me.
You're a danger to democracy.
Yeah, which we don't live in a democracy. We live in a
Right.
republic.
Right.
But once again, the label. Think about the label,
Yes,
how they're
exactly.
changing the label. We don't live in a democracy, damn it. We live in a constitutional republic, or at least we did. At this point, we're kind of living in a fascism. unfortunately, because they just keep on creating new emergencies so they can enact emergency powers and suspend the Constitution. That's been their MO for a while now.
Right.
And they keep giving those labels, then pretty much people just start using those labels too, and then that just becomes normal
It
reality.
becomes socially reinforced.
Yeah.
So if you have questions about 9/11 and the official story of the 9/11 Commission, well, then you're called a conspiracy theorist. Just like if you had questions about JFK and his assassination, because you didn't believe the, I believe it's a Warren Commission or something like that, the ones that did the investigation on JFK, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist.
The same thing for J6, Jake. When we were driving back, we couldn't wait to get home to tell the truth because we were seeing the news. We're like, whoa, look at this story they're telling. You can't wait to get home and tell it. But even by the time we got home, the normal tweets, the regular tweets that were being put out there from everyday people were the same rhetoric of the Mockingbird media. Hardy and stapled in.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's how I know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Because I was one of their stories that they just lied their rear end off about again and again and again, that they got it wrong over and over and over again.
Well,
so to me, it was like, well, if they're lying about me and I know that they're lying about this, and that, what else are they lying about that I don't know about because I wasn't there? I'm not going to go down there and look for the sub.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I saw people retweeting disinformation about you is when I saw how easy it is for people just to spread stuff that they just heard without any base of knowledge and then get an argument with me, like where I know you and I'm telling them, no, that's not the case. He wasn't at a Antifa, I'm telling them the actual story. And they're like, no, I saw they're arguing with me compared to the news story that they saw. Right. It's so embedded in. The same thing with COVID. Like the masks were on. Finally, it came out you didn't have to wear a mask, and people were still wearing it for a long time.
No, they're still wearing them. I still see them wearing them. Like there was a dude in Fry's, and I walked up to him and I was like, bro, like there was an employee. I was like, they're still making you wear those masks, and he's like, oh, no, I'm just, I just wear it. No, I thought, why?
It's part of his outfit.
Yeah, dude. But like the thing is, he was wearing it below his nose.
We call that a chin diaper.
Yeah. So I just I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, well, why, bro? Like, and there was a lot of people that have become so frightened.
Right.
They're so scared.
That's it.
And it's their comfort. It's their blankie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it keeps them from sucking their thumb, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Just put that mask over their mouth.
That's a literal assessment. I remember seeing, there was a kid in a store that was kind of misbehaving, and the mom was trying to like get control, and all he wanted was sanitizer. The sanitizer, when she squeezed the sanitizer, he was like, he felt better. And you're just like, oh man, like this is not good. Like in terms of, like you said, the comfort and the psychological warfare. Even it doesn't matter how old you are, right? Like you're conditioned to feel safe or whatever.
Well, think about this. Psychological warfare 101. Frighten your population and then use that fear as a weapon. So look at it like this. In the 1950s and 60s, fear of nuclear war was through the roof.
Yeah.
Right? Soviet Union, tensions are high. Okay. So what do? They go into schools and they show all the kids one of these videos of what happens during a nuclear blast. And what happens? That house, I mean, you all seen the black and white where the house is just like completely obliterated, right? And then they tell all the kids, this could happen at any moment.
Right.
And guess what? If it happens, you're going to hear this sound. You know what I'm saying? Like a dead cat, or a dying cat outside, right? And then, so that's a frightening noise. You see the images, and then they tell the kids, get under your desk. So the kid, like getting under your desk is somehow going to shield you from a nuclear blast, right? But think about the trauma that they're living underneath that desk, right? Where there's this crazy, weird sound like a dying cat outside, and you just saw this image of this house being completely obliterated, and then you're told to get under your desk and imagine what this is going to be like and the world will be like after this happens, right? What's going to happen to your family? You got to have enough water. You got to have enough food, and you better buy as much. But this is my point.
repackaging it today.
What's that?
They're repackaging that same scenario today.
Well, yes, with COVID.
COVID.
So the point is that they are frightening a whole generation of students in the early 50s and 60s to believe that at any point the hammer can drop, you're screwed, your family's screwed, you're all going to die unless you trust the government.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So now it's with COVID, it's like at any point, hammer can come down, a virus could drop, and everybody could get sick and die. So you better do what? Trust the government.
Yeah, and that's what COVID was. It was a test run to see how far they can go, and that's usually what they do when they test the public with things. They see how far they can go, and they've been trying to do something like this forever to set that precedent. So like when a virus comes down, people are conditioned. Oh, here we go again. But like you said, they overplayed their hands, and it has catastrophically backfired. And I don't think the world or the people of the world would allow such a lockdown to occur again.
No, some people might willingly go back into their hole.
There are always people,
but there's more people now that are so like, screw that, no way, don't trust you. No, I'm not taking your vaccine. Look what happened to all those other people that did.
Right.
You know, there's so many parents that are pissed because their kids got the COVID shot and they're all messed up now. You know, I saw something online of this young, healthy 13-year-old girl got the COVID vaccine. Now she's paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? Been paralyzed for months. Ever since she got the COVID vaccine.
Oh, I should shout out this Matt Couch, strong patriot in our movement. He's doing pretty bad in the hospital. Selena was just telling me that he has pretty bad blood clots all throughout his body. I think he has to have his leg amputated
because of the COVID.
He says that he didn't take it, but you know, those are some of those signs. So you know, we're just hoping not.
Say a prayer for him.
Yeah.
And you know, on that, I just want to give a shout out here to everyone here at the Capitol.
Hell yeah! I love everyone for showing up.
Woo-hoo! All right, yeah, we appreciate you guys being here and holding down the energy at the Capitol.
Jake, can you just real quick tell the reason why we come down to the Capitol? What's the purpose that we're down here?
Well, that is a great thing. I think we should end this episode on because we're coming up on 12 o'clock, I believe.
That's right.
Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, so all of our state and our nation's capital, all of our state capitals and Washington, D.C. are all built on electromagnetic ley lines. Okay, these are electromagnetic lines that surround the Earth, like, you know, the electromagnetic field, right? Surround the Earth, and they go through it all the way down to the core. But where they go through the Earth, they also cross it on the crust, right? So where these lines crisscross on the crust is where they build these buildings, okay? And it's also where the pyramids are built. It's where the obelisks are built. It's where the temples, ancient temples are built. It's the place for sacred sites and medicine wheels and stuff like that, okay? So these electromagnetic ley lines affect our electromagnetic field and thusly affect our brain, our subconscious programming, the electrical chemical pattern in our brain, all these things that we were talking about, right? So think of it like this. These buildings are filled with people that are creating code or laws that affect what? Our thoughts, our emotions, our bodies, our behavior.
It's almost ritualistic, isn't it?
It is ritual. It is a ritual.
Yes.
Because they have their gavels, they have their showing of hands, they get their chance to speak, etc., etc. And if you go to any ritual, whether it be like an ayahuasca ritual or
Bohemian Grove,
or Bohemian Grove, you got all these people, you know, with they're singing, or they are doing their rituals and their incantations, and they're all saying things at once, and you know, etc. So they are creating code. And this code serves in this less than 1% of the population that owns the banks, that owns the 150 corporations, that owns the governments, and, you know, corrupts governments and stuff like that, right? Because our governments are corrupt through the central banking system and debt-based currency, and through colluding with these 150 international corporations that own and control all the resources and labor on the planet. So these people are creating code that benefits this less than 1%. Not code that benefits the people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the point is that on Saturdays, they're not in these buildings. So the ley lines are free. Now, what they're doing is they're creating a lot of fear in these buildings. They're using these as an opportunity to create suppression and fear and chaos and pain and suffering. So by showing up to our capitals, by showing up on our ley lines and investing, because we're not protesting,
That's right.
we are investing energy into the grid. We are investing positive energy into the grid. Love, peace, harmony, unity, bliss, freedom, forgiveness. Yes, even forgiveness. Compassion, right. And we're doing it on a day where they're not in the building, so we have control of the ley lines, right? It's not so much, the buildings themselves are minuscule. What matters is the electromagnetic ley lines that they're built on, right?
Yeah.
So we're here investing in each other. We're here investing in the future. We're here investing in the children and the seventh generation. We're here to invest, not protest.
That's right.
Because if you protest, then you are against something.
Yeah.
And if you're against something, you are already creating a polarized opposite position within the world. But if you are investing in something, if you are creating unity, if you are for something, then it's very difficult for that opposition to be created. So what are we for? We are for infinite, free, clean, wireless energy.
Right.
We are for a cure for cancer.
Yeah.
We are for unity. We are for freedom. We are for love.
Carrie,
we are for
I
peace.
will
And how can you be
link
against any
everything.
of those things?
Right.
Right?
Doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on. Those are all things we could unite us, bring us together.
So what we're going to do is after this episode is over, we're going to go over into the bowl over here, which this is where the ley lines cross right here, if I'm not mistaken. That's why they created this harmonic chamber right here. This is one of the places where the ley lines cross. We're going to go into the bowl and we're going to say a quick prayer. We're going to say, well, you know, maybe like 5 minutes, you know, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to charge the grid with positive energy, with love, with peace, with harmony. We're going to do like a little guided meditation where we visualize a brighter future, where we visualize the world being rid of disease and there's a cure for cancer, where we visualize infinite, free, clean, wireless electricity, where we visualize new forms of communication that are not owned and controlled by the globalists and therefore censored.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We're going to create a visualized grid, a visualized future, and then we're going to plug that into the grid. And this is how we can basically take back our collective consciousness.
Absolutely, because when we do stuff like that, it doesn't just affect our surroundings. Through quantum entanglement, it affects everything in the universe at once.
That is correct.
Now, you've been doing this for a while, Jake, and it has significant, power and effectiveness to it. What kind of more effectiveness are we bringing by adding a collective minds to this?
Well, the thing is, what does it say in the Bible? When 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am most certainly there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So one person not just can make a difference, one person does make a difference. And I think that my plight and everything that I've gone through even before 2020, coming down here and stuff like that has illustrated that is very true.
Right.
Okay. I think you doing your Liberty Report, you doing your show, your podcast, like these things made a difference in somebody's life, right? So one person can make a difference. One person does make a difference. But what happens when you get a bunch of people making a difference together, all toward that same common goal? What happens when you get them on the right in the right location, on the ley lines?
Right.
What happens when you visualize together the same beautiful future? Mm-hmm. What happens? I'm curious. I think I already know what happens. Mm-hmm. I've seen the future. I've seen what happens. But I want to take the steps necessary to ensure that future becomes a reality.
Right.
So I'm curious, and this is why I like doing stuff like this, because to me this isn't an experiment. We have about 10 to 15 people here right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see what happens if those 10 to 15 people unite of one mind, of all different age groups, right? Mm-hmm. One mind, seeing this future, praying to the divine creator that we can be liberated from the evil, from this bondage that many of us were born into, whether it be debt slavery or what have you, that we acknowledge the fact that we are already free. That is the natural state, right? Unalienable, God-given rights.
That's right. And you want to make sure when you go down to these ley lines, go down to your Capitol, you want to do so in a positive thought process. You don't want to bring your negative energy in there. You know, might be doing the opposite of what you're trying to do.
Exactly. Well, and that's why they sell outrage in the media, because they want people angry. They want you showing up to these places and protesting, not investing positive energy into the grid. Yeah. So yes, you're absolutely right. When you come down to your capitals, if you decide to do this, do so from a place of peace, from a place of love, do so from a place of unity, and welcome anyone and everyone that is there for those reasons. It is there for peace and love and unity and harmony and a better future. Do some of these guided meditations, do these collective prayers, do them in these harmonic locations and watch the ripple effect. Don't do it with the expectation of something very specific happening. Do it with the anticipation of watching what does happen. And you might be surprised that it's greater than anything you ever could have imagined. But when you try to constrict it with your own, this is what I want to happen, then you end up basically taking the opportunity away from God to surprise you.
That's right.
So let's see what we can do, baby. Let's see what we can do.
See what we can do.
Let's do it. Well, let's. Why don't you tidy us out, Marcus?
Well, I just wanted to say before we sign off, I wanted to thank Peter and Leon over there for beautifying the Capitol bowl here with.
Hey, leave those up real quick. If we can leave those up real quick while we do this, is that okay?
We gotta take some pictures, Peter.
Okay.
Oh, the negative ones.
Thank you.
You're the man.
You're the man.
And it looks great. For anybody who can't see it, we're not live on Rumble today because we're out here, but for audio only, we'll post it later. And we'll get some footage of the beautiful surroundings that Peter he got here early, and he's been putting flags up all around the bowl. It looks amazing. Appreciate you so much. And also, Peter's providing some shade for us today.
Yeah, he's got his tents here.
And the Earls, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so happy to see new faces out here, old faces out here, and we're going to continue to grow. We're going to create a collective mind that, like you said, chimes into this grid and boosts it up. So a couple places, Marcus, can you tell the people where they can find us, wherever they can find us?
Yeah, there's a new Rumble channel for the show, ForbiddenTruthPodcast.com, and that takes you directly to the Rumble. And other than that, ForbiddenTruthAcademy.com is everything you want to know about America Shaman, the podcast, the merch, consultations, everything that
free courses,
lots of free content, lots of just incredible scholarship level courses there. So please check it out, ForbiddenTruthAcademy.com.
Yes, awesome. Okay, well, normally we'd have some cool music playing right now. We've got a couple of chords, so we'll go ahead in and out. We're down here live at the Capitol, the ley lines. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. This week, we'll have a new episode next week. Do we know the name of the episode?
Are we still going to do the prison tapes?
Yeah, well, we have been releasing the prison tapes, as you guys know, which Chadwick and Jake recorded in prison.
I was in prison, Chadwick.
Yeah. Excuse me, from prison. And anyways, so those are coming out remastered. Part 2's out. Next week we'll have part 3 out.
And great job with that, Marcus. I was actually watching that, and it is really cool, guys. If you haven't seen it, Marcus made a really cool visualizer, and it is amazing. The content you're gonna love it. So good. I keep on going back just to learn stuff, Jake. Like I said in that first episode, I'm learning as we go. And those of you that listen to Jake could tell you might have to listen to it a couple times to retain that type of information he has. So we appreciate your time, Jake. We appreciate you, Marcus.
Thank you.
And
we appreciate you, Chad.
I'm glad to be here. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And we'll see you guys. We'll let you guys know about a week in advance next time when we're coming down to the Capitol.
Yes. Yeah. And that'll be sometime next month, about a month from now or so. And we'll definitely let people know. And, another thing is I was thinking about possibly just coming down here on Saturdays in like the morning or something so that we can put more energy into the grid, even if it's just coming down here to play my drum really quick and say a quick prayer. If y'all want to join me, I'll put it on my Twitter and stuff like that. So follow me on Twitter at America Shaman. That's America Shaman, at America Shaman on Twitter. And if you want, you can follow me there, and I'll give you more details about when I'm planning on coming down to the Capitals on Saturdays. Because the way I look at it is I can't ask people to do this unless I'm doing it myself. So and I want this to be a trend where at 3 p.m. on the East Coast and 12 p.m. on the West Coast, everybody is going down to their state capitol buildings, going down to their ley lines if they can't make it to their capitals, and praying, investing in the future, investing in the children, investing in each other, investing in unity, because that's the only way we're going to get out of this mess that these globalists have tried to put us in.
Absolutely. Amen. Good words. So definitely follow his Twitter, because Jake is, I don't want to say a madman on Twitter, but it's like just a great source of information. You're really good job on your Twitter page.
Thanks, man. I'm trying.
Yeah, like it. So until then, we will see you guys next week. We're going to get some footage. We're going to sign off here, but we'll get some footage to post along with the video we put out here of this prayer after. And we appreciate you guys for being here along with it. This has been Forbidden Truth Podcast.
And remember,
knowledge overcomes power.
And
truth always prevails.
See you next week.
All right, good job, guys.
U-Haul, thank you for posting
Thank you all.
the links. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, enjoy the show.
Yes. Jake, would you be okay if I live streamed? Thank you. Just thought I'd ask out of respect.
I appreciate it. Dad, your phone.
U-Haul, you really did an excellent job pumping those links. I really do appreciate it. And I will be putting them in the description of this video when I load it. You're welcome, G-Gab. I'm gonna be live streaming the prayer here shortly. And then I'm gonna get back to my regularly scheduled program before I was doing 90 on the freeway coming down here. So. Oh, come on, it was worth it. All the way. I got down here in less than 10 minutes, so. They edit. I just remembered that they edit their Rumble videos and post like pictures and stuff like that. So it will be available on their Rumble. I'm still playing catch up with their other podcasts. Again, my chat says thank you guys.
Thank you.
And I will tag your Liberty Report as well. Liberty Report on YouTube, guys. That was the link I was sent. Next thing I know, I'm grabbing my keys and my purse and my gimbal. And yes. Yeah, I was sent the link. I grabbed my keys. I grabbed my purse. I grabbed my gimbal. I always have my phone in my hand. And I just like ran to the car and hauled ass basically. Because that's what I do.
Yeah, follow the Twitter. You'll see in the dance.
Oh, I do follow. Are you on Twitter as Liberty Report too?
There's Liberty Report.
Okay. I will tag everything, link everything. I do follow Jake, so yeah. So, oh, look at what Jake got.
Yeah, thank you. You're right. It's freaking awesome.
Like you don't need that.
Certainly would give my voice a break.
I was gonna say.
It's perfect.
Oh, nice.
And actually, this is bigger than the one I had. Is it? I think so. I could be wrong, but
I looked at the pictures of it.
I think
Right,
it's the
same
same.
size.
Same
size?
Okay. Dude.
maybe I'm just
Nice.
forgetting. Oh, it's got a SIM card in here too. You got a USB, so I could like. Oh yeah, this is nothing like the one I had, bro.
Yeah.
This is like an upgrade.
It's like state of the art.
Yeah, I can literally like put it on a USB and like record all of it. That's awesome. Thanks, dude.
Got some
Fucking A.
awesome patriots here. Look at his
Sure, yeah,
sleeve.
absolutely.
You headdress.
I can take a picture of both of you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'll take one with this, you know what I mean? Oh man.
Epic. Amazing. Yes, Carrie. I will post all the links.
ForbiddenFoodFacts.com. It's on Rumble. We're not on YouTube right now. YouTube will just take us off. Forbidden Truth Podcast. And that just goes straight to the Rumble channel. Yeah.
Yes, there's many young patriots out here thanks to their patriot parents who are instilling wonderful right on. There we go. We got true patriot right there. I didn't even get to do that. Right on.
And then my brother surprised me by showing me a picture that I was on Google. And I was the only kid there.
I got one more.
Amazing. So you're like famous.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
She's been on the news a couple times because this camera's always low to kids.
Yeah. But this is who we're fighting for.
Yeah.
So
I've been wanting Trump to win a long time.
as we all did. As we all did. Thank you very much. It's what we're all about. Freedom. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go. Let's go do this.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Say freedom. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
I got it on video.
You guys don't mind if I post it on my Twitter? Oh yeah, good idea. Good
I got
idea.
that on your phone. I'll get it from his phone.
Oh, we're going to get one with Jake now. We're going to get it. Get that.
There we go.
Yeah,
Awesome picture.
All right. Thank you guys.
Freedom.
Perfect. You guys are awesome. All right,
Yes,
we'll do a prayer real
definitely
quick.
U-Haul thumbnail. I'll be thumbnailing that. You guys will be featured on my channel here. I will be ending after the prayer, you guys, and I'm gonna get home, but yeah. I'm at 2 hours now, so we're good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go out.
We are gonna follow Jake. You guys.
So let's see what we can do. Let's do a circle real quick. We can join hands.
Circle or that circle?
You know, around here, I mean, if you guys want to come and get closer, take it easy. You guys don't want to hold hands? There we go. There we go. It's all about unity. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Come on in, man. Grab her elbow.
Grab my elbow. I'm live streaming.
And so this is what we're going to do. I want you to close your eyes and briefly visualize a green world, a paradise. I want you to create the feeling in your heart, in your mind. All of humanity is united in love. The bliss is so divine, so complete. Imagine from the base of your spine, traveling down your feet into the ground. This energy, this feeling that you just created is plugged into the earth itself. And from the earth, it reaches to the sun. And from the sun to the center of the galaxy. And from the center of the galaxy to all of the neighboring galaxies that make known universe. Deep breath and feel when your consciousness expands. Deep breath and breathe in the bliss. Deep breath and breathe in the entire universe, one God, eternal living soul. Third eye, visualize, imagine a Tesla tower, major cities, already created. Instead, new cities, ones that are surrounded by greenery, lush rivers, ones filled with the abundance of food, smiling, happy faces. One where human beings live symbiotically in harmony with nature and each other. Where energy is free, where it is abundant. I want you to imagine what it would be like to travel with triangular shaped aerial vehicles so fast that you can go from New York to LA in the snap of a finger. Let's send this future that you have just imagined into the grid, to the earth. Send it into the sun. I want you to create the feeling of what it would be like for all cancer diseases on the planet to be healed. For people to go to frequency centers. Cancer can be destroyed in a matter of minutes. Create that feeling. Create the feeling These machines can be used to reverse the aging process. Like to look 25 at age 50. To feel 25 at age 60. To feel spry and life at age 75 and 80. That, see that feeling into the planet, into the ley lines, into the grid, into the sun, into the galaxy, and into the universe. Breathe in that bliss. I want you to imagine a planet that is unified. Where all of these inventions, all of these technologies have been released to the public. And there are cities and towns all over the planet that have Tesla towers. You have an abundance of food, an abundance of clean water. The air is crisp and clean. Smell that air. Breathe that air in. Know that that is a reality. That it's already there. Imagine what it would be like to walk through a small town or a city and see nature thriving all around. Now I want you to walk up to a triangular shaped craft. Collect your free feet. And you're going to go on a tour of outer space. You're going to get a chance to go to the moon. Space. Check it out. See what it's like up there. Get on the craft. You're ascending into the air. And then you shoot very quickly. It's not even a 10-minute flight. You're on the moon. You're looking at Earth from the moon. Now you're going to take a trip to Mars. We've already started to colonize it. It's already starting to be filled with water and greenery. It has an atmosphere. It's a little chilly. We can hang. Now you come back to Earth after visiting Mars. And you're back in time for dinner. And you're telling your family about this incredible journey you just took to the moon, to Mars, and back in a single day. And finally, I want you to try all of your heart to reach up into the dimensions beyond your physical body, to experience your soul, to experience the peace of God that lies within you and grows within you on a daily basis. That peace of God is real peace. It is real love. It is real bliss. It is real joy. And it is yours on a daily basis. I want you to watch and see as this bliss, this love, this light around your body grows. And it grows and it grows. It becomes the size of the planet. And eventually it becomes the size of the sun and the solar system. And eventually it becomes the size of the whole galaxy. And it is all enveloped in love, peace, and harmony and bliss. I want you to channel that energy through your body to the hands with the person standing next to you. Send them love, send them peace, send them bliss. Know that this chain of love, peace, bliss is being plugged into ley lines and the grid system, is being channeled to all humanity. And the world is a better place because of what it is that we're doing here right now. You're a part of something so great, so powerful. The sages and saints, shamans and mystics, prophets and ascended masters have longed to see what it is that your eyes see and hear what it is that your eyes hear what it is that your ears hear. That this is the time we've all been waiting for. Own it. It's yours. Now, if you want, we can say the Our Father. Everybody's comfortable with that. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Let's do it 2 more times. And on the last one, we'll lift our hands up in the air. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptations, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. One more time. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Hands up. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Let me hear you say, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All done.
Can I get a freedom?
Freedom! Sounds so good right here.
Doesn't it?
This is a harmonic resonance chamber. That's why they built it this way.
This is our home.
Yeah, this is designed to channel sound. All in that area over there too, with the buildings and stuff. If you go over there, it's designed to channel sound.
This is our home. This is our home. It's my home. All right, you guys. I sure hope I'm gonna go back into the shade now. Wow, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty powerful. I know, I'm weird. But thank you all for joining me. I'm going to call it a day. Yeah, thank you again. I appreciate all of you, my Freedom family. God bless you all. I love you. Peace, love, freedom. Have a wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend. And freedom.